A very good morning to all of you. High tea is laid outside. All of you are requested to please join for high tea. Thank you.
देश को सक्षम बनाने में प्रयासरत वैमानिकी अनुसंधान एवं विकास बोर्ड यानी AR&DB स्थापना के 50 वर्ष पूरे कर रहे इस संस्थान ने अपने सफल प्रयासों से भारत को आज वैश्विक महाशक्तियों की पंक्ति में खड़ा कर दिया है।
The ARDB has done enormous service in the growth of aeronautics in this country. From the stage where it was nothing, promoted research in academic institutes, R&D organizations, and even industries, pooled them together and developed one by one many technologies where we have reached today a state of self-reliance.
60 के दशक में भारत 2 युद्धों का सामना कर चुका था। ऐसे में जरूरत थी देश की हवाई रक्षा प्रणाली को मजबूत करने की और ऐसे संस्थान की जो न सिर्फ सामरिक दृष्टि से बल्कि अंतरिक्ष अनुसंधान और विमानन प्रणाली में भी देश को सक्षम बनाए। इस तरह भारत सरकार द्वारा गठित सी सुब्रमण्यम कमेटी की सिफारिश पर फरवरी 1971 में वैमानिकी अनुसंधान एवं विकास बोर्ड की स्थापना की गई।
From a humble beginning in 1971, ARDB has grown leaps and bounds and stood tall, proud with many of its achievements like sowing seeds for fighter aircrafts, IGMDP, engines, helicopters. It has also motivated young minds to take up aeronautics and aerospace engineering as career through different scholarship schemes. To uplift the women power in as a girls scholarship scheme, it was launched in 2019.
I am very happy that our forefathers saw the need and had the vision to start something like Aeronautical Research and Development Board as early as 1970, 50 years ago.
It has given a boost to the research works, and even the new flagship program, AMCA, the Advanced Medium Compact Aircraft Program, also will get a lot of interactions and research works initiated by AR&DB.
Almost 2,000 research projects have been successfully done since inception of AR&DB. It's overwhelming to share its contributions in major national level developments, infrastructure developments for wind tunnels and facilities for large composite structures.
Over the years, AR&DB has made truly outstanding contributions to national aeronautics, not just in science and technology, but also in the quality of the human resources that has resulted from its programs.
80 के दशक में AR&DB द्वारा रोड्डम नरसिम्हा के नेतृत्व में स्वदेशी हल्का लड़ाकू विमान तेजस के डिजाइन और विकास का काम शुरू किया गया था।
I found the only agency which supported these academic institutions in developing some basic knowledge and technology was AR&DB.
Many basic research projects in computational electromagnetics have been undertaken over the years by AR&DB. These are bearing fruit today in India's 5th generation stealth aircraft, AMCA. Damage tolerance and fatigue testing studies on rudder and fin have been very useful for the LCA Tejas program.
When that project came and NAL has conducted in a huge hangar, a full aircraft was fatigue tested, that is something amazing, and even actually today NAL has that facility in which the new aircrafts like LCA, other things are actually tested.
We have had major programs with AR&DB, what is called as ACE cost, AR&DB Center for Excellence in Composite Structures. We have developed this process wherein structures are 15 to 20% cheaper than what structures are generally made using prepregs and autoclave molding.
The one that you see behind my back is what is called as a hypersonic shock tunnel. So these are short duration facilities where you can really recreate the actual high enthalpy flows.
विमान स्ट्रक्चर और उसके विभिन्न उपकरण हवा के दबाव में कैसे कार्य करेंगे, इसके लिए विंड टनल परीक्षण अहम होता है। AR&DB के सहयोग से IIT कानपुर में ऐसी ही एक विंड टनल प्रयोगशाला स्थापित की गई।
Some of the facilities which are created with at IIT Kanpur with the support of AR&DB is one of them. The most important one is where we are right now, the flight lab.
AR&DB ने UAV अनुसंधान के क्षेत्र में सहयोग कर टोही मानव रहित दूरस्थ संचालित विमान और माइक्रो ड्रोन जैसी तकनीकों के विकास में देश के रक्षा क्षेत्र को मजबूत किया है।
One of the interesting programs of AR&DB handled by ADE is the National Program for Micro Air Vehicles, and it was very beneficial for our present and future programs.
वहीं देश को अग्रिम पीढ़ी के गैस टरबाइन इंजन निर्माण और विकास में सक्षम बनाने के लिए गैजेट की शुरुआत की गई।
The Gas Turbine Enabling Technology Initiative, which was initiated by AR&DB with Gas Turbine Research Establishment as the nodal laboratory, is noteworthy.
2014 में GT मैप की शुरुआत की।
AR&DB has sanctioned about 30 research projects across various institutions in the country on gas turbine materials. I am sure the fruits of this effort will be seen in the near future.
Recently, the board has created a perspective vision document called the Aerospace Perspectives 2040 document, which recommends the board to fund research in important areas in aerospace science and technology.
I find that kind of work what AR&DB done needs to be continued to be done in a much bigger way, so that as a country we can progress further in a very important field called aerospace.
I give the full credit to AR&DB for country coming to this state of advanced avionics and aeronautics development in the country.
A very good morning to all of you. I'll request Secretary DRDO and Chairman DRDO, Dr. G. Satish Reddy, CMD Bharat Forge, Shri Baba Kalyani, DGPCSI, Shri G.N. Rao, Mr. Emmanuel D. Rockefeller, VP and Country Director, Thales, Director DITM, Dr. Mayank Dwivedi, to please come and take seat on the dais, please. And I will request everybody to please put your cell phone on a switch off mode or a silent mode, please. Welcome, sir. Secretary DRDO and Chairman DRDO, Dr. G. Satish Reddy, CMD Bharat Forge Shri Baba Kalyani, DGPCSI Shri G.N. Rao, Mr. Emmanuel D. Rockefeller, VP and Country Director, Thales Group, Director DITM, Dr. Mayank Dwivedi, dignitaries of the dais, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Today we have assembled here to deliberate on a very important topic of Atmanirbhar Bharat. While DRDO is continuously developing advanced technologies and defense systems to make India self-reliant, Atmanirbhar Bharat, this seminar on energizing the R&D capabilities of industry for Atmanirbhar Bharat at Aero India Yelahanka has further given a thrust to the DRDO's resolve for Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense sector. In this seminar, DRDO will publicize the latest policies and procedures of DRDO, transfer of technologies and test facility support to industry by DRDO, technological and scientific support provided to industry by DRDO on need basis, R&D funding to industry under TDF and free use of DRDO patent by industry and many more. This will be followed by mind-stimulating sessions on various aspects of Atmanirbhar Bharat from startups, MSMEs, private industries, DPSUs and FOEMs. I, Dr. Vivek Raghav, scientist DRDO, take this opportunity to unfold the program further. First, I would request Shri G.N. Rao, DGPCSI DRDO, to deliberate on the topic Industry Cooperation for Defense R&D. Shri G.N. Rao, Director General Production and Coordination and Services Interaction, is BTech in Electronics and Communication and ME in Guided Missiles. He joined DRDL in 1988 in the project Akash team. He was project director Akash Missile. He has contributed immensely for the automation of the air defense operation of indigenous surface-to-air missile. He was also project director NGARM and thereafter PG QSAM. Currently, he is responsible for productionization of DRDO developed system TOT, international cooperation and interaction with services at DRDO headquarters. I welcome you, sir.
Morning, everybody. Respected Secretary DRDO, Dr. Satish Reddy, and Shri Baba Kalyani, CMD Bharat Forge, and Emmanuel from Mr. Emmanuel of Thales, Director DI2TM, Dr. Mayank Dwivedi, on the dais, and the dignitaries of the dais, and the industry partners. The issue of R&D in industries has been discussed a long way, and everybody feels that R&D should not be the domain of public industries and public institutions, and industry also should enter into defense R&D. But as people have studied and written articles and brought out many issues regarding R&D in defense, Whereas in commercial sectors and startups, there are so many R&D institutions coming in civil sector, but not into the defense domain, basically because of the larger investment required and the test facilities and infrastructure which defense R&D demands, they're enormous. So in this regard, what we can do? That's what we have been discussing, and all our elders also have been suggesting we should take so many steps. Under the aegis of the Secretary DRDO, Dr. Satish Reddy, we have promulgated a number of initiatives recently to enable industry to do R&D in defense sector. Basically to enable them, to support them in terms of infrastructure for the R&D, we have opened up all our test facilities for the industry for a nominal fee, which can be negotiated based on their requirements. That has been put on our website. It is open to the industry. They can consult the labs which are related to each test facility for their R&D needs, and they can use them freely. This is the major initiative which we have said. And all our TOTs, now the fee is nominal and royalty is not there if the products are given to the Indian armed forces or users of in India. So this way, the burden on TOT is not passed on to the industry, and they are encouraged to take the TOT with nominal fee or free if they are already production agencies with us, so that they can enable themselves with the production of the units based on the research by DRDO. As a DRDO, we are going into big systems and system integration and realization. So we require industry support in a big way in lot of things in terms of materials, in ceramics, metals and non-metals, fabrication, precision engineering, and so many electronic LRUs. DRDO does not make them, and we source from the industry. And RF systems, different kind of antennas, subsystems and systems which we integrate into a big system, and motors, especially BLD motors for different applications, high performance batteries, power systems, sensors for airborne systems and underwater systems. Some of them which I am mentioning, which each of our cluster needs support from industry. There is a misgiving in the services and industry that DRDO is competing with the industry. No, in many forms, our secretary has clarified that we are not in competition with industry, and what industry can do, DRDO will not take up and will not do it. So we are freely encouraging industry to come into R&D and develop systems, which in turn will help DRDO to make in a bigger systems. So that was the premise which we have promulgated various initiatives so that industry themselves can get into R&D with much of the financial burden which they are afraid right now. Because in defense R&D, the gestation periods are very large. So once you invest into the infrastructure and the R&D, your returns are not immediately coming up. So that part of the burden DRDO is ready to bear in terms of their infrastructure which is already developed, and it is open to the nation's needs. Apart from that, we have many schemes like TDF, where we encourage industries to come up with ideas which they can supply items both to services or a replacement for the imported system or indigenously developed systems also. And the R&D cost, the development cost is borne by the DRDO. So we fund the R&D in industries, and so many industries have come up, and I am the chairman for technical committee which clears these projects for taking up. So we have been seeing many systems are being developed for Air Force, Navy, and Army also for different systems as a replacements for their indigenous replacement for the imported systems, because there is a large imported systems which have a lack of spares and subsystems which are not available, or companies have closed long back. So industry can pitch in and develop those systems and fill in the gap and supply to the armed forces. And R&D cost is borne by the DRDO. We are open for encouraging the industries. And for supporting the industry in R&D, we have opened up another scheme. DRDO scientists and engineers can help in developing the technologies, because industry is coming into R&D right now into the defense sector. They may not be aware of the requirements and some of the nitty-gritties of the military systems. To enable the industry, DRDO is open. So we have promulgated a policy so that industry can approach DRDO for a technical problem where DRDO can provide the solution by charging whatever is the amount we can decide mutually. So this a big way we are opening up our talent in DRDO, our expertise in DRDO to be made available to the industry so that they can get benefited by that. If they come up with an idea, if they have an idea, we'll give you the solution and jointly we can develop the technology. And we are also making a scheme so that scientists can go to industry and work for some time there. Modalities are being worked out so that how to sponsor or send a scientist to work in industry and vice versa also we are trying. And the secretary is fully in consonance with the Atmanirbhar Bharat program which has been promulgated by Prime Minister of India to push defense sector into R&D and eventually increasing the exports. That was the main target right now. As RM also yesterday, he has adequately eloquated in the inaugural speech that getting into export area by defense industries is the main target right now. For that, whatever R&D support required, DRDO is ready to share and encourage the industry. Now we are ready to listen to the industry, what are their needs and what they can give. But the bottom line is quality and support for a long time. Once you are into defense, your quality should be absolute bottom line, because you know the systems where they work and what environment they are subjected to, unlike the commercial products. So those facilities we are ready to provide to qualify your systems for the environment of the military or defense industries. Also, once industry get into the military domain or defense and aerospace systems, you should be ready to travel throughout the life of the system. That is 20 to 30 years of the total product. You should be there giving all the support and obsolescence and everything to be managed by the industry. It is a big business opportunity as well as a challenge for the industry. I hope industry will come forward and take this challenge and avail the DRDO facilities and the infrastructure which we are throwing open for the R&D in the industry. And there are already industry partners which are there, which have shown their interest in doing joint development. That is one way. And if industry can do on their own, if they want any facility or technical support, that we are ready to part with and support the industry and enable the industry in defense R&D in the country. So I welcome industry partners to approach us through our website or to our Directorate of Industry Interface is there. Dr. Mayank is the director for that, and he's always available. I am also always available for the industry to approach us and take the help, whatever is required, to improve their R&D capabilities and establish themselves as a aerospace and defense manufacturers in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Secretary DRDO and Chairman DRDO to present a memento to Shri G.N. Rao, DGPC NSI. Please, sir. Thank you, sir. For the next talk, I invite Shri Karan Garg to talk on incentives and enabling required for startups. Mr. Karan Garg, Director, Messrs. Ref. MFAIR, Greater Noida, is a former judge and policy expert with nearly 16 years of experience. Previously, he worked as Senior Executive at Supreme Court of India and High Court of Punjab and Haryana, Member Secretary, Committee on Process Reengineering and Change Management, Member Secretary SSSC, Judge in District Court and faculty at judicial academies across the country. We welcome you, sir.
Respected Chairman DRDO, eminent scientists and dignitaries on the dais, delegates from India and abroad. I'm here on behalf of RIFE and TLGS, both startups, to talk about incentives and enablings required for startup ecosystem in the country. As a startup, we began this journey in December 2016, encouraged by Indian government Startup India Mission and Make in India Vision. My friend Bikash at that time was researching in Idaho National Laboratory, and I was a judge on deputation with Supreme Court of India, and we both started a drone manufacturing unit in Noida, and we approached DRDO with our proposals, and they supported us wholeheartedly in our endeavor. Especially Dr. Reddy, his vision, his mentoring. We have been able to produce 7 combat drones with capacity of up to 50 kgs. We are advancing towards indigenously producing Predator class drone by the end of 2021. DRDO provided us TDF funding and we started production with their support. This is something unthinkable in India earlier. This transformation is phenomenal and I thank DRDO for this support. Now every startup struggles to find funds, technology, technical human resource and real user for its products and those users' requirements. So DRDO as a body can help the startups to fund their research, advise on technology, and also identify the user needs and also to connect them with the industry partners. With DAP 20 already in place, DRDO has an added responsibility to mentor, guide, collaborate and partner with more and more startups to lead the way forward for effective procurement under Make 1 and Make 2. Now, is this self-reliance policy progressive? Yes, indeed, it is. Its scope is not limited to Make for India. It's actually the way forward to Make for the world. 101 items which are identified for import substitution with effect from December 20 till next year, next 5 years, DRDO can effectively help the startups towards indigenous manufacturing of these items. Its labs, vast repository of technology and human resource are indispensable for realizing Atmanirbhar Bharat vision. It has to make its presence felt in this new regime to promote IDDM with full vigor and passion. Indian and foreign entities should be enabled for greater participation in this mission while strengthening our partnerships globally and keeping ourselves open to ideas which flow towards India from rest of the world. India is third largest startup ecosystem in the world and home to 21 unicorns, although mostly tech. So this reflects a mature ecosystem in terms of startup space. But to promote defense startups further, we require greater flexibility and ease in sharing base technology to avoid the delays, greater autonomy and programs in forming partnerships with research institutes and universities in India and abroad would be a great welcome initiative, and this has been factored in the DAP regime also. Increase in procurement by MOD from startups is essential. Smaller orders in more numbers is also a welcome step to keep them going and let them expand organically. Every innovative technology is dynamic and has multifaceted applicability. So DRDO should partner with many different startups for any one technology having potential of multifarious uses. This technology cluster growth approach can help create more innovative and diversified platforms. Startup IP protection is a major issue due to lack of expertise, funds, and professional access. This issue should be paid immediate attention, and more partnerships by DRDO and other important mentors within the defense space may help them with better optimal solutions. So I congratulate MOD for unveiling DAP 2020, and I sincerely wish that DRDO shall have its impact felt and should act as the guiding lamp to show the path to hundreds of up-and-coming defense production ventures to make India a hub for defense development and manufacturing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Secretary DD R&D and Chairman DRDO to present a DRDO memento to Shri Karan Garg, please. Please come to the dais. Next speaker is Dr. Arvind Patel. I'll request Dr. Arvind Patel to deliver a talk on expectations of MSMEs and their role in development of defense system leading to production. Dr. Arvind Patel, MD, Messrs. Sahjanand Laser Technologies Limited, Gandhinagar, Gaziabad, has more than 30 years of experience with the laser technology. He is the founder director of Sahjanand Laser Technology Limited. He holds more than 26 patents and the National Award for Indigenization by the then President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, in 2004. 3 times the Best MSME Award in Innovation and Technology in 2009, 10, and 13, and many more awards to his credit. I welcome you, sir.
I have a request for all the speakers. Knowing the present scenario, what is already there existing in the country, knowing all the facilitations what are already existing in the country, what more need to be done, any more suggestions coming is much better than talking about this good has happened and all that. Yes, something good has happened, but we want something more to happen. So suggestions in that directions are more welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the MSME Sahjanand Laser Technology, about our technological development we done in our country for our effort. So we started our journey from 89. We are basically in different segments. We are in industrial lasers, diamond processing, medical, and RF and microwave with defense and space technology, renewable energy, and high-tech software. Because of our technological development and R&D, we got a lot of international national awards from Government of India and abroad also. To start. Yeah. So I just display some video, small video, which can know about our company. Can you start the video? The video tell about our company because it's very, very high tech. So to sometime explain about orally difficult, by seeing the things you can have a more idea about that. Otherwise we can continue. Just wait for a few seconds.
Paradigm shift in industrial laser, gems and jewelry, medical, RF and microwave, renewable energy. The journey of absolute excellence began in 1989. First fiber laser cutting machine in the world, 6+ manufacturing units, 25 patents, 10,000+ installations, 30+ countries covered, and yes, a government approved R&D facility. We are an ISO certified company and follows 5S, Kanban, Six Sigma, Kaizen, lean management and quality management systems. As an outcome of this strict quality control, the elegance reflects on each system we make. We are a trusted associates to research institutions since years. Our pride lies in making India proud. We have received Dr. Vikram Sarabhai Award, Best Workplace, 5 national awards, 2 Best MSME awards, 2 R&D and Innovation awards, 3 Quality and Manufacturing Excellence awards, 2 Entrepreneurship awards, Best Electronic Industry and Best Workplace award, and counting. We are the pioneers of diamond industry, and we have proliferated the industry with our one-in-kind diamond processing solutions. With our R&D efforts at its best, we engineered one-stop solutions to convert a rough diamond into the polished one. Renewable energy, masterclass solar thermal solution that channelizes the heat exactly as required. A crucial liquid heating system that works incredibly across many kinds of plant, radio frequency and microwave. A superior isolation is what our system capably delivers that allows great measurability. We offer radio frequency and microwave solutions to identify the measurements perfectly. Medical, a manufacturing of US patented design coronary stent and PTCA balloons in class 100 and class 10,000. The company has dedicated in-house R&D department approved by DSIR, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, acknowledged by DST, Department of Science and Technology. A true companion to the customers. We don't sell machines, we form a relationship, empowering innovation, empowering people.
This small video presentation and just to talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we are doing a lot of projects also. So first project we done when it was happening nuclear in 1998, then in world has banned us for technology, so we supply technological machine to Ordnance Factory Dum to make the pins and veins cutting very fast by technological way, and it can be produced high productions. The production of what they do in 1 year can be possible by laser machine 1.5 months, because the old technology has replaced by that new indigenous developed technology. So this is our old machine. Recently, in last week, also taken photo from our Ordnance Factory. It still is working for 20 years. So for that we get a technological award also. So we also develop very interesting technology for research satellite, radio imaging satellite. So for that is also we indigenously develop concept by developed also by us, shown to ISRO, and they like it and they have given order to us, and we successfully use it in surgical strike also, and we proud that it is a very successfully working. And after successful projection, this is the photos of that our products what we develop. RISAT, synthetic aperture radar. So complete machine we make it and make a product also in our house, in-house. This is also new machine which is already 2019 we developed for bigger size of RSAT. Yeah. This is also video about that. This is all our micro and Arab products. So we are now coming with the new projects, but with the DRDO, it's about the high power fire direct energy weapons. This is very important project for country. So we are first in the world to making fiber laser technology indigenously. For that we done a lot of technology development and put with the patent in 2007. Displays the machine in India, then we have displayed America and then Europe, and then for that. There was a high power conference happened in St. Petersburg, so they invited us for the presentation, and we got also facilitated from them, and world knows that India has a technology for fiber laser also, which laser can be used only direct energy weapons. And for that also we got in 2011 awards for that, national awards for R&D. So in Vibrant Gujarat time, the Narendra Modi ji was the chief minister. He invited us to show this machine on the open ground and opening of the exhibition done by that opening, and we cut also 50 years of Gujarat celebration by the technological machine. Yeah. So we looking for we are expertise in in-house software development, design, machining facilities, and we do a lot of fast execution. So we see that research is done very fast in the very short times. In 3 months we make a prototype, and 3 years we complete the project of that RSAT. These are different products. We have robotic product also. This is 22-meter railway bogie cutting machine we develop, and also welding for the railway bogie. So fiber laser we are also supplied to DRDO 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt and 400 watt air-cooled laser, which can be arm can carry that machine. So with the testing facility they are spent up high, and this is our roadmap for doing that things. And we are working for high power laser. Even the main component of the laser is a diode, pumping diode. So we are also backward integrated, making diode in-house also. We are working with the SSPL to develop some diode with that design, and we are working now with our with chips COS. We import it and package it indigenously now. This is the portable laser which is used for army can carry it, soldier can carry, and in a trolley. Yeah. This also the high specifications. This is also we have very critical work on this. And sensors, the monitoring system is an important part of that product also. So this is all specification. This test facility, we will develop a special facility for testing pent up high as per requirement at DRDO. Yeah. This is all testing facility, just not taking much time. So this is the big project we are thinking to be 10 kilowatt with DRDO, and also furtherly for further 100 kilowatt laser can be work out and develop for country. This is indigenously we make it, and we are looking for to be further R&D to do imported to be substituted in India. Yeah. So as MSME we are expecting that there should be good supports from India, and I think there is a new good policies now coming which can help to the MSME company. Yeah. So it is in a short, sorry that I will, video will take time, so we are certain our speak. So I think it will encouraging that R&D supported and new policies coming from DRDO will going to support strongly for the further and Atmanirbhar Bharat to make successful story. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Secretary DRDO and Chairman DRDO to present our DRDO memento to Dr. Arvind Patel. Next speaker is Shri Sachin Agarwal. I invite Shri Sachin Agarwal to deliver a talk on precision manufacturing in defense sector. Shri Sachin Agarwal, CMD, PTC Industries Lucknow, is a MSc Finance and from Boston College, Massachusetts, and MBA from Oklahoma. Under his leadership, PTC received the National Award for R&D efforts in industry by DST, CII Industrial Innovation Award 2018, and many more awards in the field. He is the past chairman for CII in the UP, past co-chairman for the Regional Committee for Aerospace and Defense, CII, Northern Region, and currently the chairman for the Regional Committee for Export, CII, Northern Region. We welcome you, sir.
Respected Dr. Reddy, Shri G.N. Rao, Dr. Dwivedi, Shri Baba Kalyani, Mr. Manuel, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for the opportunity to speak in this session. We have a manufacturing facility for manufacturing of defense, aerospace, and other industrial metal components. And this facility has been set up over the last many years. The company has been in existence for almost 60 years. But we have set up a new manufacturing facility about 3 years back for the manufacturing of defense and aerospace components, called our Advanced Manufacturing and Technology Center. So this is the plant which was inaugurated about 3 years ago by the hands of Dr. Reddy himself. This plant is a unique place because over 20 unique metal component manufacturing technologies have been brought under a single roof for the first time. This facility that has been set up, there's a huge amount of technological base which has been gathered from all around the world, including in-house R&D, along with working with a lot with DRDO, who has been extremely supportive in this mission. We have invested about 270 crore rupees for this investment initially, and have also brought in a lot of advanced manufacturing techniques for robotics, automation, vacuum melting, and a plethora of such infrastructure. We have been exporting for almost 85% of our products all around the world for a variety of industries, and now also creating a forte in defense and aerospace manufacturing as well. Besides this, a new facility dedicated purely for aerospace components for engines is currently being set up with an additional investment of 230 crores. This is also in the UP Defense Corridor, which will be ready in the next couple of months. Again, additional new technologies and infrastructures are being brought in for manufacturing components, especially related to aero engines. The company has received many awards, including National Award for R&D, as well as many national and international awards. As we know, there's an immense opportunity in the country with the new policies and the vision shown by the leadership of the country in the past few years in this space by involving and bringing in industry and private institutions into the fold of manufacturing and creating an ecosystem. So what our focus has been is in this entire pyramid of defense and aerospace manufacturing, starting from the top of defense sectors and then coming on different platforms to coming to different applications within each platform. Our focus has been to to produce defense subsystems and component level manufacturing. And there we have brought in these technologies right from first titanium casting facility within the private industry within the country, to bringing controlled microstructure castings, metal powder production, titanium metal powder production, and making components from metal powder, using various 3D printing technologies, producing castings with forged capabilities, replicas, rapid cast, a plethora of these technologies focused on these various applications that are there within the defense and aerospace requirements. And to do this, we have employed a whole host of advanced manufacturing processes, robotics, automation, Industry 4.0, artificial intelligence, simulation, all those resources to bring in the required level of quality and what Mr. Roy said, quality is the bottom line, to ensure the consistency of that quality throughout the manufacturing process, throughout the entire life cycle of the product. So lot of these R&Ds, all these equipment has been developed to support these kind of manufacturing facilities and manufacturing processes. Besides this, as I mentioned, we are producing titanium castings for the first time in the country, in the industry, private industry, and super alloy castings, super nickel alloy castings, cobalt alloys, a variety of different alloyed, exotic alloy parts are being produced by bringing in technologies from different countries, as well as homegrowing it with our R&D team, a very strong R&D team, with a huge amount of support and assistance and guidance provided by DRDO. We have also the country's only hot isostatic pressing capability. And again, this is one of the 5 largest HIPs in the world, and probably the only one that is between Europe and Japan. And this is a very unique capability, and for any aerospace component, any flying component, this is a must for the treatment of any of such cast parts. Besides this, we have brought in controlled microstructure casting for aero engines, single crystal and directionally certified, as well as equiax parts, which is being currently set up in the new Aeroloi building, which I showed earlier. And again, here, a huge amount of guidance and support is being provided by DRDO to us to build this kind of a capability for the first time in the country for all the various platforms, air platforms, engine platforms that are there in the country. We are also having facility to manufacture titanium powder, as well as take all type of different metal powder, and from metal powder make components directly. So one of those activities that we are doing is discs, and so with the properties of the component being equivalent to that of a forged part. Again, all these different alloys and materials. We also have primary metal production capabilities for all these exotic alloys, including titanium and various nickel alloy as well. And also, we are setting up an aluminum investment casting facility for aerospace applications using our own dedicated technology called Pure Pour. We have an in-house CNC machining capability from 5-axis CNC machines to CMM, all those available in-house for ensuring the required quality that goes out of the door. This is just an example of various aerospace components developed in titanium and super nickel alloys, which has been supplied to various DRDO programs as well as to the Air Force and exported to the primary players abroad. So thank you very much. And as Dr. Reddy said, one of the suggestions, if I could say, is that to have a lot of focus on component level manufacturing so that those cross-platform technologies, if they are brought into the country, there are many core technologies which are missing in the country. And when those core technologies for component manufacturing come to the country, they can support any platform. And I think that's what DRDO is playing a role right now, and we really, really thank DRDO for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Secretary DDR and Chairman DRDO to present a DRDO memento to Sri Sachin Agarwal. Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Shri M.V. Gautama, and he shall be delivering a talk on expectation of industries and way forward for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Shri M.V. Gautama, CMD of Bharat Electronics Limited, is B.Tech in Electronics and Communication and M.Tech in Advanced Electronics. He joined BEL in 1983 and held variety of positions in various capacities at BEL's corporate office, Ghaziabad, Hyderabad, and Bangalore units. Under his guidance, his team successfully developed ESM system for submarines, helicopters, medium and long-range aircraft, lightweight ESM system for small ships called Sanket, and program like TCS, BMS, CIDSS. He has been conferred with the Business Leader of the Award 2019 by International Aerospace Media Group. We welcome you, sir.
Good morning to all of you. I thank DRDO for giving opportunity for BEL to make a small presentation and suggestions in this session. Many of you may be knowing BEL, but for repetition, please excuse me. So I'll quickly go through. We are a Navaratna PSU under Ministry of Defense, established in 1954. We are today among 61st in the top 100 defense companies worldwide. We have 9 manufacturing plants, and apart from that, we have a subsidiary, 100% subsidiary, and 2 joint venture companies. And apart from that, we are the first defense PSU which started overseas marketing offices. We have 6 of them already in operation in USA, Singapore, Oman, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Myanmar, and we are going to shortly commence 4 more. BEL is located all over India. We have 9 manufacturing plants. We are in UP, Uttarakhand, Haryana, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and main is Bangalore. We manufacture all professional electronic systems for all the services and paramilitary. We have radars, weapon systems like missile systems, communication, electronic warfare, avionics, net-centric systems, anti-submarine, electro-optics, tank electronics, homeland security, and host of civilian products. So in the areas of diversification, we have diversified into energy storage products, including e-vehicle requirements, then unmanned systems, space electronics, solar cells, seekers, network and cyber security, arms ammunition, railway metro solution, software, then composites and healthcare solutions. We have a robust quality management system in BEL. We have both top-down and bottom-up approach. I'm happy to share with you that CII Exim Bank has selected BEL in 2018-19 as the role model organization. This is the first time a PSU has ever got this recognition. Coming to R&D, we have a three-tiered R&D structure in BEL. We are one DPSU which runs 2 research laboratories entirely not connected with the production. They do futuristic research very collaboratively with DRDO. Then we have a product development and innovation center. So there the technology developed is converted into core modules which are repeatable and reusable. Then we have 22 business units where R&D is done to configure the system, customize the system to meet the customer requirement. Almost 50% of engineering manpower of BEL is deployed in R&D. We spend nearly 1,000 crores every year, about 9 to 10% of our revenue. The benefit what we get is 80% of our sales revenue is from indigenous R&D. Indigenous means great support from DRDO and other national laboratories like ISRO, CDAC, CDOT, etc. We collaborate with not only national labs but also with academia and industry, startups and foreign collaborations. Incidentally, BEL and HAL have created a Section 8 company called Defense Innovation Organization. The IDEX platform is run by this company to support the developments, innovative developments and research in defense by startups. So we engage with industry in collaborative R&D, long-term partnership and outsourcing on build to print, build to spec. Then we do a lot of alternate development of partners. We provide good support to the industry in terms of developing their competency, skill enhancement. We support industries in getting ISO accreditation, etc. And we also provide support to industry for infrastructure whenever required. So in collaborative R&D, today we have a large number of collaborative R&D partners. 277 partners are working with us, including 134 SMEs. And you can see that we have committed programs where we are investing about 138.5 crores in 2021 and about 124 crores in 21-22 and 97.6 crores in 22-23. The projects in 21-22, 22-23 are going to ramp up now. We have initiatives for startups and MSMEs. We have aligned with all the policies as on date from the Government of India. We have relaxed procurement norms in terms of turnover, experience. We have nominated nodal officers in all our units and corporate to make in India a very strong focus in BEL. All our test facilities are put on website so that anybody can book for them and utilize them. The prices are very nominal. Then we have identified and published a lot of items which we need in future. We are committed to procure them once indigenization is done. As I told, we have created Defense Innovation Organization jointly with HAL to encourage startups and encourage innovation in defense sector. We have outreach programs for many of the industries. Then we increase thrust and preference in indigenization programs, including MEG2. All our payments are through ECS and there is no human intervention. We have long-term partnerships in terms of joint development because some of the programs run into 2 to 3 years. So we have a long-term understanding. We sign technical collaborative agreements or MOUs for completing these programs successfully. In quality, we have adequate quality control and inspection testing facilities. Then infrastructure, we have adequate design infrastructure facilities which we share with these startups and innovators. We have trained manpower and with adequate competencies on role of the company. We also provide competency training to the others. We have adequate capacity to undertake multiple projects simultaneously. On-time delivery is ensured in BEL. Today, more than 80% of the projects, in spite of scope creep, we ensure that they are delivered on time. The recent example is we were able to deliver 30,000 ventilators in difficult times as committed to the Ministry of Health. So we have many techniques with which lean organization we have created, lean manufacturing we have created. We ensure cost competency and cost reduction so that we are progressing towards total cost management. we incidentally get assessed by CII for our TCM. So now coming to the environment, today the government is supporting indigenization and Atmanirbharta. MOD is main cause. They have brought in a lot of make procedure in the defense procurement policy. Then DRDO has implemented make. Then there is increased thrust for indigenously designed, developed and manufactured equipment in the capital procurements. Then the greatest benefit to the all defense industries is negative import list that encourages indigenous manufacturing. Then lot of relaxations are given for MSME and startups. Then scheme for promotion of manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductors for capex items. These are the incentives which the government is already providing. Now, what are the challenges and expectations? Now, the industry is still unable to meet the indigenization targets of the government. Even today, 65% of the defense requirements are met through imports. So one of the major thing is we have to go through for any indigenous equipment, no cost, no commitment demonstrations. So here very heavy upfront investments in R&D, CapEx are required for developing the system product and getting it evaluated. I'm sure Mr. Baba Kalyani will be also explaining how many years it takes for any gun developed by Bharat Force to get into the system. Then Make One projects, though launched by ministry in a very big way, be it TCS, BMS, they all lost out and due to insufficient funds. And today they are in cold storage. Companies like us, L&T, Tata, we made good investments and upfront investments, and today we are not sure. And the technology in electronics changes very rapidly. Every 3 years, you get power consumption saved to half, volume coming down to 1/3, and etc. So user will be looking forward for more and more modern equipment, and without having timelines, it is very difficult to make upfront investment. Then we have to be cost competitive with a benchmarked price. The foreign global suppliers, they amortize their NRE costs with a global market which they can reach. Whereas the Indian entrepreneurs will look at the bird in hand, and hence they try to amortize within the numbers which they are likely to get within the domestic market. So, and hence our cost sometimes, when you invest huge and the quantity is very small, the NRE cost will be much higher and we may not be cost competitive. Then time to market, we are developing some of the products meeting the ideas and requirements of the customers for the first time. And if you compare that with a matured, already in use or in service equipment, then we will be missing it out. So government must understand that whenever they are looking for a completely Atmanirbharta and indigenous system, they must start accepting it at, even if it meets at a level of 80-85% of the target specification, they must start introducing it. And within 3-4 years, we can catch up the 100%. But if you always say that 100% is mandatory to cross, sometimes it may not be possible. Then coming to some of the RFPs where the industry looks forward for TOT from DRDO in a big way, the DRDO is selecting industry through EOI. And whereas the RFP is already out from the ministry, and hence we need to respond it in time. So selection of partner from DRDO also must happen in time, otherwise industry will be losing out. Then non-recipient industry seeks alternate sources of technology. This must be discouraged. Actually, when the technology is available within the country, we should not allow unnecessarily spending of money by the Indian industry. We should in fact share the cake in a much more mature way so that everybody has got work and everybody can contribute. Also, I see that earlier we were having exemptions when you are investing in R&D in terms of exemption of custom duty, but it is reimposed. So here, when 3-4 companies participate in NCNC demonstration, only one will get selected at the end through L1 process. The others have invested and they have to write it off. So paying custom duty on such items, such products which they are going to write off is also not encouraging the industry. So I wish government will take a note of it. Earlier we had weighted income tax advantage for the investments made in R&D, almost to the tune of 200%. Later it was reduced to 150%, and now it is completely removed. So this also is not encouraging the private industry or even DPSUs to invest more in R&D. There is no incentive for investing in R&D. Then for DPSUs especially, we have very complicated process of strategic acquisitions. There are many niche companies which are coming in defense. There are many young entrepreneurs, innovators who are coming, and they need a lot of capital so that they can grow up. So here somebody needs to support them. Some venture capitalists should come out and support. But in India, seeing the large dependence of military imports, no venture capitalist is coming forward to encourage these innovators. While defense PSUs appreciate that we can support them and develop the technologies, there is no simplified process where we can invest in them. Then coming to patents, we need to protect IP. As more and more entrepreneurs are coming into the chain, we need to respect their IP, and the patents cycle time must be reduced so that the national patenting can be much faster. Duplication, as I told earlier, the duplication of R&D investments by industries and DRDO for a given requirement of Indian Defence Service can be discouraged, and it can be avoided. All said and done, still the country has got a long way to go to become a developed country, and the financial resources can be better utilized by ensuring that people are given a specific task and they invest in the task. Then unlike Europe and US, where academia plays a major role in developing technology and supporting the industry, in India the academia started now, but it is a very long way to go. So we have not seen good products or innovative technologies coming out of academia. They take small problems and try to give some solutions, some algorithms, but we expect the academia where the innovation can be the starting point for young graduate engineers or scientists who are coming out of the academic institutions, where we need to increase the collaboration and try to bring out some policies where the industry has a very good ecosystem from the academia. So these are the expectations I feel from defense PSUs as well as industry, and anything I missed out, I'm extremely sorry for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Secretary DDR and Chairman DRDO to present a DRDO memento to Shri M.V. Gautama, CMD Bell. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Shri Baba Kalyani, and he shall be delivering a talk on steps to be taken to synergize the R&D efforts leading to defense manufacturing. Shri Baba Kalyani, CMD of the Bharat Forge Limited Pune, is the BE Mechanical Engineering from BITS Pilani and MS from MIT. He is a member of various prestigious committees and forums, including the Prime Minister's Science Technology Innovation Council, US-India CEO Forum, Indo-French CEOs Forum, India-UK CEOs Forum, India-Israel CEO Forum, and whatnot. He is the recipient of the Padma Bhushan, Order of the Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Star, Japan 2019, Cross of the Order of the Merit, Germany, Commander, First Class of the Royal Order of the Polar Star, Sweden, and many more. We invite you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Dr. Satish Reddy, Secretary Department of Defense R&D and Chairman of DRDO. Sri Gautama, Chairman and MD of Bharat Electronics Limited. Sri G.N. Rao, Director General, Production Coordination and Service, Interaction DRDO. All the distinguished colleagues on the dais, distinguished members, directors, Director Generals of DRDO, industry colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I don't have a presentation, so you can focus your attention on me rather than the screen. And the topic that I will talk a little bit on is, as was said, steps to be taken to synergize the R&D efforts leading to defense manufacturing within our country, a larger defense manufacturing within our country. You know, when I reflect upon the progress that the Indian defense industries have made in the past few years, it simply looks like we have covered some tremendous amount of distance from being in the periphery of a supply chain of ordnance factories and defense PSUs to entrepreneurs who are now beginning to showcase some amazing technological advancements and capabilities. And behind all that obviously stands the mighty DRDO with its capabilities in research in almost every field that defense technologies require. The two presentations that I saw this morning, one on the laser technology by our friend from Gujarat, and another one on the materials and metal technology that was, I think you showed that. It was quite simply amazing. For somebody like me who's been in industry now for almost 50 years, I'm amazed that we are beginning to see these kind of green shoots coming up in India. And I think this is the change and the progress that we are beginning to see in the area of defense technologies. Industry has had many successes and the opportunity to contribute to India's indigenous capability, India's self-reliance, or as the Honorable Prime Minister now says, you know, make India Atmanirbhar. The good thing in this area, I mean, what has been done, so I won't dwell too much upon it. We have all the policy statements, the policy enunciation, right from the top, through the Ministry of Defense, through the DRDO system, and hopefully getting translated to the services. We have lists of items that are supposed to be made in India, list of items that DRDO has enunciated that needs to be indigenized. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Just for Dr. Ajay Kumar's reference, I am talking about the steps to be taken to synergize the R&D efforts leading to much greater defense production and self-reliance in the Indian industry. So as I was saying, as an industry representative, we really take pride in the constructive transformation that we have seen and witnessed over the last few years in this sector. And also would take this opportunity to place on record the strong support, guidance, and encouragement that has been offered to the industry by the Ministry of Defense, Government of India, the Defense Research Development Organization, DRDO, through its various laboratories, and hand-holding and confidence that has been demonstrated by the armed forces and the services. If one was to look at what has changed in the last few years as far as defense production and defense R&D is concerned, If you take 10 years ago, most of us were producing something to print. You were given a specification and you had no leeway to move away from that specification and produce to print. 10 years later today, many of us are adding our own technological knowledge, adding our own capability in which we have our own work that we do, and creating, instead of components, subsystems and full systems. And of course, this is all being done working with various different labs and facilities of the DRDO. If I look at our own company, just to give you a background of what we do, we've been in business for almost 65 years. We are India's first multinational, by the way, much before all the big guys became multinational. So we are a homegrown business. Our business is in the area of materials, metal forming, and metallurgical components. Of course, today, with all the disruptions that are beginning to happen in our core business, which is automotive, and automotive now moving from just metals to a lot of electronics and batteries and EVs and all kinds of stuff, there is no choice for companies like us but to start moving in that direction too. We have multiple facilities within India. We have 7 facilities in Europe, in Germany, in France, in Sweden. We have 2 facilities in North America, in the United States. And all of these facilities of ours basically serve the global automotive sector and the global commercial vehicle sector. From India, we serve, apart from the automotive and commercial vehicle, a large amount of industrial equipment sectors. We work in the oil and gas business. We work in the construction business. We work in the mining equipment related business. We supply components for large ship engines, for example. So we do a lot of diverse different things. We supply components for aircrafts, for aircraft engines, for aircraft structures such as landing gears. And in the last 10 years, we have put a lot of attention in creating a capability in the defense sector. Our showcase defense program is our artillery gun that we are developed under DRDO. It's called the ATAGS. It's one of the most modern artillery guns in the world today. I don't think there is anything like this on the planet. It's a full electric weapon. It has a range capability of almost 48 kilometers as it stands today. And maybe, version 2 and version 3 of this, we could probably take this to 60, 70 kilometers as we move forward. It's right now, as of now, the gun is somewhere in the top of Sikkim, in the middle of the winter and snow, undergoing some trials. But it's been a program that has taught us of how we need to convert research into products. We have had a great cooperation with ARD, which is DRDO's laboratory that is hand-holding us on this project. And we have all the gentlemen here from ARD. We have Mr. Mehta, Dr. Rao, Dr. Gade. And it's been a fantastic experience. And it really hasn't taken that long a time. From the time we started working, we had the first gun ready, I think, in 3 years' time for trials. And of course, we are still doing trials. So I'll come to issues that we need to solve as we go forward in this direction. We also have multiple other programs, smaller programs that we are working with with DRDO. We are working on special ammunitions. We are working on, developing the kinetic energy ammunition. We are also working on developing a mounted gun system for artillery. So we have several programs that we are working with DRDO, with different laboratories of DRDO, and all moving, I think, at fairly reasonable speeds. In our space, in the land systems business, and we have other areas that I'll just talk about, in the land systems business, one of the biggest problems that we face is the time it takes to conduct a trial. And there are two issues connected with this. You have, for a gun or an artillery gun, you have to first do trials for proof testing, which is normally done in one of the smaller ranges that are available in the country, which is pretty fast. That's not a problem. Then you have to take the gun for structural testing, but there's only one place this is done, and that is in Balasore, where your gun gets instrumented and tested. And I think we really need an expanded capacity in Balasore, or we need to create one more Balasore to handle this problem, because it takes many months sometimes in the wait for making this happen. And of course, then you have your winter trials, summer trials, and then you got to go to Pokhran for doing your consistency trials, your accuracy trials, and all that. And I think there is a way that these things need to get collapsed down into shorter times. There's a lot of technology that is available in terms of simulation. So if you are able to do one or two trials, and if your simulation correlates with your trials in a highly accurate fashion, I think it should be pretty much taken as done. But that's an area that requires a tremendous amount of, let's say, change and improvement in terms of being able to productionize or being able to compress the time between R&D and product that is required. The second area that we are working in is with DRDO is taking technologies that DRDO has developed. DRDO is now very free in terms of giving their TOTs to industry, their patents that they have to industry. And many of these we are now beginning to see have applications not only in defense, but also have applications in other sectors of business that at least we are operating in. And therefore, we see a convergence that is beginning to take place in the defense technologies or technologies that are developed for defense and defense-related activities to technologies that are going to be used in the commercial business. I mean, it's very common in other parts of the world where we say dual-use technologies are available. The same thing is beginning to happen here, especially when it comes to electronics, when it comes to things like LiDAR, things like autonomous driving, things like EVs, connected vehicles, and things of this nature. There is a lot of commonality that is now beginning to emerge between technologies that DRDO has or is working on to technologies that India Incorporated would like to use. And that's a good part of what is happening, because DRDO has now opened up their entire support system of TOT and patents. The third thing that I'd like to talk is the new 13 missions that have been put under DRDO. This is a huge opportunity. I'm talking about the DPEPP document that is primarily been developed to create Atmanirbhar in critical and frontier technologies going forward. And what are these 13 missions? First is the gas turbine engines. Second is the hypersonic systems, ballistics and cruise missiles, armored vehicles, submarines, fifth generation fighters. It was great to see yesterday HAL get their contract for 84 LCAs. This was just simply amazing and a great acknowledgement of India's own technical capability and what DRDO through its labs like ADA and GTRE and NAL and along with HAL as the production agency have been able to do. Amazing. Transport aircrafts, secure communication devices, microprocessors, cybersecurity infrastructure, surveillance systems, AI and robotics, airborne sensors, and strategic materials. I was very impressed with your presentation because you seem to be doing a lot of work in strategic materials, which is one of the 13 missions that DRDO has got. And I'm confident from what I'm seeing here in this Aero show that the response from industry, response from our younger entrepreneurs, response from people who are working full steam on their own with the help of DRDO in terms of harnessing and using this technology to make India Atmanirbhar. And I'm quite confident that a large part of Indian industry will contribute in this juncture. I'd just like to highlight, before I end my little talk, that as we set up this national mission, it is imperative for us to bring speed in execution and in time realization of these critical projects. So the time from research to production, or lab to lines, as we say, we have to figure out how this time can be compressed and how we can make things happen faster. And I think if we can make this happen, the dream that we have of making India Atmanirbhar, making India self-reliant, and a new India, as we saw being enunciated in the budget that just came out on Saturday. It was simply an amazing budget, which basically says, I mean, the message that I get from it is, look, citizens, we believe in your capability. We want India to run faster, and we are willing to do our bit in terms of investments to make you run faster. The rest is up to you. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Secretary DRDO and Chairman DRDO to give a DRDO memento to Shri Baba Kalyani, CMD Bharat Forge. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Dr. Ajay Kumar, Defense Secretary, and he shall be giving a special address for the seminar. Dr. Ajay Kumar joined the IAS in 1985 and is presently heading the Department of Defense of Government of India since August 2019. Dr. Ajay Kumar is BTech in Electrical Engineering from IIT Kanpur and MS Applied Economics USA and PhD in Business Administration from Carlson School of Management USA. He served in State Government of Kerala in early years, and he has served in Ministry of Communication and IT and Department of Electronics and IT. He has several publications in referred national and international journals. He is awarded Silver Elephant Medal by National Scouts and Guides and His Excellency the President of India in 1994. Citation by Honorable Prime Minister of India, and was adjudged the outstanding young person by Junior Chamber of Kerala. He has to his credit numbers of national and international awards, recognition and honors. We welcome you, sir.
Good afternoon, friends. Dr. Satish Reddy, Secretary, Defense R&D and Chairman DRDO. Shri M.V. Gautama, Chairman and Managing Director, Bharat Electronics Limited. Shri Baba Kalyani, Chairman and Managing Director, Bharat Forge Limited. Mr. Emmanuel D. Rockfield, Vice President and Country Director of Messrs. Thales, Shri Sachin Agarwal, CMD, PTC Industries, Lucknow, Dr. Arvind Patel, CMD, Sahajanand Laser Technology Limited, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, Shri Karan Garg of RAF Amphiber Private Limited, Greater Noida, Shri G.N. Rao, DGPC and SI, DRDO, Dr. Mayank Dwivedi, Director, DIITM, DRDO, friends and colleagues from DRDO, Armed Forces, Industry and Ministry. It's a matter of tremendous pleasure for me to be with you here, and I must share that I have come from the Indian Ocean Region Seminar of Defense Ministers after performing my opening remarks there, because I thought this was a golden opportunity to come and talk to some of the brightest people that we have in defense and aerospace sector. Why? Because I think this is today possibly the most important thing that we in India are looking up to. And I do not say this merely for sake of form. To my mind, when Honorable Prime Minister talks of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and when we look at Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense, when we look at Make in India in defense, I do not think it is about sheer manufacturing. If we are taking technology from outside and producing, this is not self-reliance. This is licensed production. And this model of licensed production, friends, thanks to our friendly countries and friendly companies, we have been doing very successfully for the last 70 years. But now when we talk of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are talking of moving away from this licensed production regime to creating our own technologies so that there is true self-reliance in the country. And therefore, if we are talking of self-reliance, research and development is the most important pillar of that self-reliance. The second point I want to make is there has always been questions. Defense technologies have been at the frontier of all technological development that humankind have known. The latest and the best technologies are used in defense so that the countries can excel in their arms and armaments. And can India, therefore, do we have the capabilities to match up with the best? I would just want to mention a couple of things which would rest my case in this regard. The previous decades have shown how India has become the epicenter of software technologies, digital technologies, and the world today acknowledges India's role in software and digital technologies. And the world also recognizes that if we look at the graph of how technology has evolved in the last 20 to 30 years, digital has dominated 9 out of the 10 technological changes that the world has seen, big technological changes that the world has seen in the last 20 to 30 years. And that's one area where India has been leading. The second point I want to make is India has today become the world's biggest, most attractive center for R&D, development centers, engineering and design for the world. Leaving behind China, most of the Fortune 100 companies today have their development centers in India. And that is a clear indication of their faith in Indian capability. We may not have had the faith, but they have the faith in Indian capability that the development can be done in India fast and cheap. But the final point I want to make in this regard is, like in Hindi we say, Haath Kangan ko aarsi kya. I will not complete that, but the COVID year has shown how Indian innovation has totally decimated any doubts that would have remained regarding Indian capability. And here I must say, DRDO has been leading from the front. When the crisis came, I was part of the meetings where some very scary scenarios were being painted. We were all seeing visuals on TV of how leading countries in the world were facing crises in their hospitals, in their shortages of ventilators, shortages of testing facilities. Health infrastructure was totally inadequate to meet the surge of patients that was coming. And we were conscious of our limitations in terms of the health infrastructure and medical capabilities in March 2020. Not too far, not even 1 year back. You are all familiar, I don't want to repeat it. Whether it was PPE kits, whether it was ventilators, whether it was testing, whether it was diagnostics, whether it was vaccines, all of which were developed within India, and all of us in India are aware that not once did we ever feel the shortage of any of these requirements. While the management of the COVID pandemic itself has been a great success story, I would like to focus on the innovation part of this. And today, we have vaccines made in India, and we have more vaccines, and today we are able to share. Friends, in diverse fields, from IT to engineering design to now in medical science, we are doing which I think the world always recognized we had the capability. And today I think it is this confidence that makes us feel that in defense and aerospace also, when the government has taken this decision to promote the local industry, the local capability, the work with the local academic institutions, work with the local startups, I think this is a golden opportunity for all of us who are associated with defense and aerospace sector, the R&D and innovation of it, to show this is possible. Karan is here, and I believe he spoke before me. Karan, I have not met you, but I have met Vikas several times. Karan, can you, yeah. It is an amazing story. I remember 2 years back when Vikas first came and met me and said that he has come back from MIT and he wants to develop a full drone system in India. I have a bad habit of promoting everyone who shows positive desire to do things. But honestly speaking, when I met him first time, looking, and a lot of people have come with a lot of great desire to do things. I did not expect, but in less than 12 months, in a small building in Noida, what a wonderful work. And today, all those who have seen the product which their company have made makes us all, our chest is swelled with pride that an Indian startup starting from scratch is today producing drones which will match and meet the requirements of Indian armed forces, I am sure of many other armed forces in the world. This is the capability of Indian startups ecosystem. And what it has done is, it has multiplied the arms and legs and the brains which are working to solve the problems. Earlier, there was one DRDO. Then there were few industries, and Bharat Forge is one of those industries who have done tremendous amount of, have excelled in the work that they do. So from 1, it became 10. But with the coming up of the startups today, this 10 has become 100. And it is now the force by which the number of problems that we are able to solve has multiplied many-fold. As a result, the time taken in solving these problems has come down. One of the biggest today's world of new technologies, where software and digital technologies are dominating in all platforms, including in defense, one of the most important consideration is the speed of innovation. 3 years, the platform is already, next generation platform is available. And for this speed, it is very important we have multiple, multi-dimensional ways of working, and this is what this comprehensive ecosystem is doing. And we are today able to reduce the number of years or number of months. Let me give you the example of recently. Today, the speed at which DRDO is doing things has changed tremendously. Last year, one after another, DRDO has come up with new revelations. DRDO did it in the past also, but at the pace at which it is being happening now, I think is remarkable. And I would like to compliment the Secretary DRDO and all the team members of his who are working. The number of new missiles demonstrations that have the courage to do the new missile demonstration, I understand. I've also witnessed cases where it has not succeeded, but doesn't matter. Believe me, no one who has anything to do with R&D will ever criticize you for a failure. So first thing is, please do not have the fear of failure, which we in the government have a lot. Just do not neither be afraid nor be ashamed of failure. That is the first stepping stone to success. But I am amazed at the number of successive launches and demonstrations that have been done. But some of them I want to specifically mention about. One is the hypersonic missile demonstration. India has become one of the 4 or 5 countries only who has today shown capability to do hypersonic missiles. Recently, I was told that the first quantum computer-based communication took between 2 labs of DRDO. A great feat. I am reminded in 1969, the first communication of internet took place between Stanford and UCLA. And now in 2020, the first communication, late 2020, December I think, December 2020, the first communication has taken between 2 DRDO labs. And I would challenge the people who are working behind it to come up in a similar way, like internet has proliferated. We would like to see quantum computing be used more and more in many of your platforms in the coming years to come. But this is the speed at which today DRDO is working. And government is also reposing increasing faith in Indian technologies. In the last 1 year only, several projects have been given to DRDO products. Some of these projects have been pending for a long time. We recently saw, yesterday, the contract for 83 LCA being handed over to HAL, DRDO ADA product. My compliments, congratulations that today now, very soon at this rate, LCA will become among the LCA fleet I will not become the biggest, but will become one of the biggest fleets in the Indian Air Force with this production order. MBT Arjun, not only in the aerospace sector, in the tank side, now government has already given approval for 108 tanks of MBT Arjun Mark II at a cost of over 10,000 crores, something on which today DRDO MBT Arjun is more advanced than any other tank that Indian Army has used in so far. And I am sure that there will be a lot of other countries who will today be interested in having MBT Arjun from India. We have our own electronic warfare systems, Shatrughat and Himshakti, for which order has been given during the last 6 months at a cost of about 7,000 to 8,000 crores. But I think something on which we are all extremely proud of is 6 AWACS orders, which has been placed on DRDO again a couple of months back, which will be created in a record time of 5 years. For AWACS, typical development time could range from 20 years or even more at times. That's the time in which AWACS development has taken place. 6 AWACS with development and production, 5 years onwards, the delivery is going to start. I think this is changing the face of DRDO. But this has not come just like this. The change that is happening is due to earnest efforts of a lot of people who are working behind it. At the same time, it's a new look approach that is happening. And an important component of that is increasing openness of DRDO to work with industry. And I think I would like to compliment, I am a great believer that there is need for, and I mentioned this earlier also, that one person is one person, but you have to multiply your forces. Today, DRDO has shown increasingly its willingness to work with industry and startups. Shri Baba Kalyani talked about the attacks program which they are working with DRDO. DRDO has notified in August 2020 108 items for working with the industry. And I would like to encourage, invite, challenge the industry to seize this opportunity with both hands and show that all these 108 items can be developed fully for India with our own technologies. And that would be the challenge, I think, so that when we meet next year, we would be able to say that all these products are moving forward. Friends, I have lots to share when it comes to innovation. I don't want to continue talking in the interest of time, but I just want to conclude by saying 2 things. One is, DAP 20, one of the banes of our system, and Baba Kalyani referred to it very politely, I must admire his patience. You know, one of our banes is testing, trials and testing. And we need to address this issue. We don't have to be, you know, if we have a weakness, we need to find an answer. And we need to reduce the time of trial and testing. And we need multiple ways. And I can tell you, everyone, whether it is in the ministry, whether it is in the forces, whether it is in the industry, of course, is saying, everyone is interested how to reduce the time. It is no one's case that the quality should be compromised. But the DAP 2020 recognizes a couple of things. One is, it has paved way for development and user trials being combined. And this is one big layer being cut down and is likely to reduce the testing time significantly. The second is, I think we have to increasingly move towards third-party certification and trial and testing through simulation and software. Time has come when we have to adopt world's best practices in this regard. I have asked the acquisition wing to work with all the concerned stakeholders, and they have undertaken a study. Armed Forces is part of it, DRDO is part of it, and all the other stakeholders are part of it, to figure out which are our trials and testing methodologies or processes which are there in an SOP, which can actually need not require going all the time to difficult terrains or waiting for the God weathers to bring 40 degrees, 45 degrees temperature in summers or minus 20 degrees in winters. Why can't these be simulated in today's world? So there are a lot of things which possibly we are doing today physically which can be simulated, by which the time and the cost of testing could be reduced. And this is something I think I would like to leave this to this audience. Collectively, we must figure out how do we make this effort more efficient and shorter in time and lesser in time. Once again, my hearty compliments to all the team members, DRDO, industries, startups who have actually given up hope. I always believe that defense and aerospace industry today is at a cusp from where, which electronics industry was 4 years back. And when everyone said, I remember first time when we started talking of electronics industry in India, people used to laugh. And when we talked about creating an industry of $100 billion, people did not believe it. Today, it's the fastest growing single industry in the country, even faster than software. So I think today we are on a cusp, and if we look at the opportunity, today, I don't want to talk about a lot of things. You're all aware of export opportunities and how export is being promoted, and how Prime Minister and Honorable Raksha Mantri has said, make for India and make for the world. The opportunities are humongous. And therefore, I would like to, while wishing all of you my sincere felicitations for the good work, I think the journey has just started, and the big, wide world of opportunities is before you. I wish you the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Secretary DDRN and Chairman DRDO to present a DRDO memento to Defense Secretary Dr. Ajay Kumar. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Emmanuel D. Rockefeller. He shall be delivering a talk on international collaborations in defense products. Mr. Emmanuel D. Rockefeller, VP and Country Director, India Thales, majored in missile space, MBA from INSEAD, Masters in Public Law and Industrial Strategy in Defense. He has over 3 decades of experience in the defense and aerospace market. He has been with Thales for more than 27 years. Prior to joining Thales, he worked with DASU as project engineer on European Space Shuttle Hermes. In his current role, he is responsible for leading and driving Thales' growth in the country and also realizing the group overall goal of Make in India and export from India. We welcome you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's both an honor and a challenge to come as the only representative from foreign ORM, and also to come right after Dr. Ajay Kumar. Excellent speech. So Shri Satish Reddy, Secretary DRDO, Shri Baba Kalyani, CMD Kalyani Group, Shri Jian Rao, Industrial Corporation, Shri Gautama, CMD Bell, honorary colleagues, and industry partners. It is really my honor to give you the perspective of foreign ORM in collaborating with DRDO. First of all, some elements of context. I know you know Thales a little bit, but just some figures. 80,000 people, global company, 30,000 engineers. So we have a big force of engineering, of course. R&D and technology is at the heart, absolutely, of Thales' existence. And as you can see, we are present in 5 large markets: aerospace, space, ground mobility or transportation, defense and aerospace, and of course, recently, digital identity and security, when we have invested quite a lot over the last 3 years. Now, India is paramount for Thales, of course. India is one of the 3 top countries in the world where Thales has been investing quite a lot. We have been continuously supporting the 3 services: Indian Air Force, of course, Indian Navy, Indian Army. We have been growing progressively the footprint of Thales in the country, and we have established a lot of partnerships with private and public enterprises. Bharat Electronics is one of them, and we have others like Larsen & Toubro and others. We have been there from 1953 in the country, so nearly 70 years. We are considering ourselves as truly an Indian citizens. We have actually today 1,800 people within the company, and as part of it, 1,500 engineers. So we have a strong force of engineering in the country. And as Dr. Ajay Kumar was saying, actually, we're one of the global companies who are having total faith in engineering in the country, because we have established 2 of our engineering competence centers, one in Noida and one in this city, Bangalore, to do engineering for all our markets. Now, we have been evolving in terms of, as the country is evolving in its policy, the Make in India and so on. Thales also has involved, because there is no other way if we want to continue markets in this country, from designing, licensing equipment or designing new equipment in the country, to really product building to serve from this country our products worldwide. And you have here a certain number of examples. I would name maybe 1 or 2 of them. The Pharos multi-tracking radar, which we are co-developing with Bharat Electronics, very close by, and we are confident that we will sell internationally in this country. Probably the Dutch Navy will be one of the first customers for this cooperation in co-developing this extremely state-of-the-art multi-tracking radar. We have also significant collaboration with significant companies like MKU in Uttar Pradesh to develop extremely sophisticated weapon sights and industrialize those products in order to serve the country, but also to export from here worldwide. Now, clearly, we are willing here to tell you also that Thales is also at the verge of starting a new way of collaborating with DRDO. I am personally convinced, having been 5 years the CMD of Thales in the country, that there is no other way if you want to serve the defense services than collaborate actively with DRDO. And we have also, as you know, Thales, quite enormous offset obligations. But I would not wear the name obligation, it's more an opportunity. We feel that those the offset obligations are opportunity to leverage and really to use all the avenues in order to transfer technology or buy from India. So it's really, we are regarding that as opportunities. Now, two elements of context, or two technology acquisitions. It's in airborne radar. We know that airborne radar is at the forefront of future fighters, of course. And Thales has, of course, developed quite a lot of modeling, simulations, and coming back on what was saying about testing, a way to accelerate and to save cost in radar modeling, radar simulation, radar testing. It's really to, I would say, to acquire a certain number of applications, be it in the battlefield simulation, be it in the data analysis software, flight data analysis software. And this is exactly what we have proposed 3 to 4 years ago to DRDO. And with our great pleasure, DRDO has accepted to consider those technologies as important to them. And we are, we will be in the next future finding an agreement to organize those technology acquisition between Thales France, and some labs of the DRDO under, of course, the sponsorship of the Secretary DRDO, Dr. Satish Reddy. Another example of collaboration is Radome. It's of a clear knowledge that an IRISA radar, an active antenna radar, has to have a perfect fit with the radome in order to be perfectly, I would say, fitted and to deliver its best performance. Of course, with, in France, we have a collaboration with the state labs in France, and together we have also offered to, I would say, to transfer that technology, not only to transfer, to train, but also to start the manufacturing of those technology within India with what we call multi-layer radome, and which totally fitted with the active antennas linked with, of course, with modern radars. So those multi-layer quartz radome, hopefully also we will be able to, I would say, transfer, develop, manufacture in a collaborative spirit between Thales and the labs in DRDO. And we are absolutely confident that it will be a success. So here also, we are, of course, transferring the license to produce, not only to produce in India for Indian customers, but also to export from India. So, cutting a story short, because I know that you have been listening to a lot of good stories today, we are capitalizing on offsets. If we sign and we are confident that we will sign soon these kinds of agreement with DRDO. It will be actually the first technology acquisition signed and agreed between a foreign enterprise and DRDO. So I can only consider and thank DRDO Labs and DRDO Secretary to, as Dr. Ajay Kumar was saying, to open its mind, to open to overseas industry, and to acquire technologies that can only accelerate the path of development of those technologies, which are absolutely indispensable if India wants to play within the top players in the world in those kind of technology. So thank you very much. Thank you to have listened to me.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Secretary DDR&D and Chairman DRDO to present a DRD memento to Mr. Emmanuel de Roquefort. Thank you, sir. Now the time has come for the open house discussion. Here we request the industries to come out with the ideas and plans to further propel Atmanirbhar Bharat, the issues, roadblocks they foresee, and the plans, suggestions to mitigate it. The floor is open, just pound for it. Mics on the run, please. Any suggestions from industries? Yeah, please, Mike. Please. Yeah.
Just have a question. There is not enough information about the TOT from DRDO to, smaller
Speaker requested to introduce themselves, the name and the organization they do belong from.
Sorry, one of my legs went to sleep.
Okay.
Vinod Matthews from Captronic Systems, Bangalore. So the question was, we wanted more information with respect to TOT from DRDO to industry, especially smaller industries. And that's not very publicly known. I think some of it information is there on the website. But the DRDO labs themselves, I don't see enough knowledge or information available. So some clarity on that will be helpful.
Thank you for your question. Yes, you are right that we have publicized whatever the duties we are doing on the DRDO website. And this is the forum where we expect that all the industries who are interested to take the technologies, they can apply, because the website method is quite good in the sense because it's quite a dynamic system. We advertise number of licenses which can be offered to the industries, and as soon as the licenses are getting depleted, the industries are taking them, then remaining number of licenses are mentioned there, so that it gives you the clear-cut picture. So that's how this thing we are doing. But well, you have told some more options are to be opted for category B technology, where dual-use technologies are there. We have got all the industry chambers engaged with us, and they are also advertising and telling about the technologies. And apart from that, we are conducting various industry interaction meets across the country, where my scientists and I myself, we go there and we try to disseminate this information among the industries that this type of policy, this type of system exists in DRDO. And we will improve further. Whatever you have suggested, we will try to make it much more wider base. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon all. I'm Sunil from Pandit Deen Dayal Energy University, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. When we talk about R&D and then industry, how you would like to plan another research institutions also to collaborate, where before we actually deploy the role of research institutions to develop the prototype or the the implementation kind of the protocols from the, not just doing the, we did couple of DRDO funded projects, but not at the TRL 2-3, but I'm talking where we taught about Atmanirbhar Bharat, so all the TRL 7 or above the prototype of the project. So any plan with the DRDO that how they will engage the research institutions?
Thank you for your question.
Thank you, sir.
Basically, we have got enough mechanism by which we are supporting the industries through our ER and IPR. We are funding the projects and also through CARS, a contract for acquired research. And I think many universities and institutions, they are doing it. And moreover, now whosoever is coming as an incubation center or a startup, again, we have got a mechanism to support them. So I think the type of ecosystem right now we have developed for the institutions as well as the startups and incubation centers, I think it is picking up quite well. And I think in future, whenever you want any project, through those mechanisms, you can apply and we will try to help you out.
No, we actually, we received one IPR project and we did it, we executed. But more, what happens, sir, more of a conceptual also TRL 2-3 level. Now, since the incubation and Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are talking.
Well, you are right. Basically, we are taking such support for the S&T purposes.
Yes, sir.
When the TRL level up to 3 or 4.
Right,
after that, we go to project mode. And then after TRL level 7 and 8, we go for the mission mode.
Plan the integration of the research university and the startup center, that should be.
So yes, we will do it and we will engage you aptly wherever the TRL level 7 and 8 are there, where we can lead to the production.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any more questions on Atmanirbhar Bharat, the roadblocks and the issues if you see? Yeah, Mike, please.
Good afternoon, sirs. I am Commodore Santosh, retired. I am GM Defense from ECIL, Hyderabad. So my question is, we have been talking about this list of 108 items where indigenization efforts are being looked at. And at the same time, I also heard today that there are a lot of TOTs where DRDO is inviting participation from the industry. So my very simple question is that, is there somewhere we can find this procedure? Because when we got this 108 list, we were running, we told somebody to find out whom to contact, how to get into this, is there a form, is there a procedure, is something being sought from us as to what is our industry background in this and why we want to get into this projects and things like that. But that is not fructified, sir. So I would like to request, ask the people that is there any, procedure that has been formulated so that industries can just fill in these forms and then start interacting with the respective labs and things like that. The implementation part of it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. As Defense Secretary also mentioned, this 108 list is the products or systems which DRDO will not do. And industry is open to take it up and develop and supply to respective users. In that context, if any technology is required or any help is required, DRDO is open. There is no procedure as it is to take up these projects. So the list is already available on the net. So industry is free to take it up as a development and produce these items. And DRDO is also one of the buyers of these products. That is the process. There is no official process to be followed. Industry is free to take up all these 108 systems, develop themselves, produce and supply either to DRDO or to the services, tri-services, whoever requires those things. And DRDO will not take up this and compete with industry. That was the context.
And also I will compliment all the contact details are mentioned on the website and whom to contact and various modes how to industry can utilize the services offered by DRDO today. They are all mentioned and listed. You please refer drdo.gov.in, then you go to outreach, and after outreach you will find various tabs wherever you want to go through that you can click and you can find out all the policy related, all the documents. You can call us also. My contact details are there and you can call me also and you are most welcome. We will resolve everything.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. One last question, if any. Okay. If there are no questions, we'll keep the ball rolling. May I now request Dr. G. Satish Reddy, Secretary, DRDO and Chairman, DRDO, to please come forward and deliberate on way forward for industry in defense.
Very good afternoon to everyone. The eminent people who are present here from industry, on the dais, off the dais, and the people from services, and DRDO scientists, and then people from academia. Very good afternoon to all of you. As it's already delayed, the program is supposed to be about 1 o'clock. We are already about 1:15, so I wouldn't be taking much of a time. And the basic aim of this particular seminar is an inclusive R&D development by everyone. So R&D by all. It is impossible when you look at the gamut of the whole spectrum of defense technologies which are required for it to be done by one organization. So it has to be by everyone, the three constituency elements, the academia, R&D organizations, and the industry. So primarily the focus today is on R&D capabilities in industry. If you look at the world, various countries, the scenario, how the countries have today prospered in the technologies, it's out of the R&D by industry and R&D organizations too. There are different models existing in different countries. Some countries where you have government-owned R&D organizations, then you have private organizations, and then some are government and private jointly funding various other mechanisms. Some countries, R&D organizations owned by government do only TRL 1, 2, 3 level research. Beyond that, completely by the industry, or various other models which exist. So looking at the country from our side, in the last about 3 to 4 decades, the evolution of the ecosystem in the country for defense technologies has progressively come up to a good stage today. There are lots of academic institutes and professors who are able to work on that. R&D organizations, which primarily were earlier doing, out of the sheer necessity, spending most of their energies on the development and the further part of it, are able to get in more and more into research part of it. Industries which were only doing manufacturing earlier are producing them as BTP, now are able to mature from them there to build to specifications, are able to carry out research in the niche areas. The many industries in the country who are able to have an R&D group who are able to do advanced research in their own areas, and then they're able to supply to the entire world, not only the country. So these are some of the industries which have come up. So that is what actually how we can encourage and see that industry able to do a lot of R&D, and then facilitate actually R&D organizations like DRDO to enter into more and more into the advanced technologies and futuristic technologies to come out where actually the TRLs are 1, 2, 3, and 4, and come out with state-of-the-art weapon systems or first of its kind systems. So for that, how do you create this type of a system in the industry where they will be able to carry out research in many areas is one of the important aspects what we thought we should be discussing today. Get ideas from industry and try to see that industry will be able to get into R&D, primarily probably niche areas. This is the important aspect. So there are many schemes, provisions in the Government of India, whether it is the IDEX sort of a scheme which actually encourages innovations from by MOD, or the technology development funding which actually DRDO is doing, which actually primarily started for indigenization of various parts, subsystems and systems which we are importing from outside to indigenize them, and later got converted also into many advanced technologies or technologies development and systems development also. So coming to an industry, how this can actually come up, what type of a encouragement to be created. One is the funding for the R&D. This is one of the important aspects. Once the funding is done, let's say the product comes out, how this product will be able to get into the production. An industry always looks, actually a sustained production model should be there in the industry. Else, industry is not an R&D organization to carry out continuously research. So research you will be doing provided there is a market for it. How do you ensure that this market is available for the industry is one of the very important questions what we need to look at it and see this. One is, do we have the market within the country? If particularly this item, if it is being developed for the defense forces, firstly, I think just now Baba Kalyani was also mentioning, unless in defense, the country where the R&D has come up, there the armed forces should accept this product. If this is not inducted into the armed forces of that country, it is extremely difficult to sell this product elsewhere. So how this mechanism can be brought in is one of the important questions. All of us have to look at it and see that this gets inducted in the armed forces. When we are talking about a research, we are not finally talking about an end product and how it goes and then what armed forces look into it and all that. Then it is actually you are looking again at PSQR, ASQR, GSQR, NSQR and all that, and then start developing. Then that is actually you are looking at a product. But then if you want industry to get into R&D mode, yes, even if it is, let's say DRDO funds the R&D also, but then industry has to put in its own energies, resources into that, and end of that R&D, it's okay, you're given funding and so I have spent something and I got out of it, cannot be there. So these are the two important things which have to be looked into it and seen that how industry you will be able to really encourage them and get into this. What I'm saying is, today when DRDO has come out with a scheme called Technology Development Funding, and lots of bureaucratic hassles and everything have been removed, made the process very simple. Actually, in fact, the list of items which actually need to be indigenized have been put in website and said that there can be suo motu proposals can come out and you will be able to funding, and the funding can be up to 10 crores. Still, I'm telling you the fact is that you are not getting enough industries participating in the schemes. The industries which are participating only are and again coming to this avail this scheme. So that means a larger participation of the industry is not happening. So this is not here to fund only a couple of industries or some 10, 20 industries the schemes have been. You are trying to expand this whole scenario to many industries who can come forward and then work in this area is one of the important things. So this is one thing what we need to look at it, why industry is not coming forward. Second, this type of funding or R&D, you give about 4 crore rupees or 5 crore rupees or 6 crore rupees, not for large companies, huge companies who have got thousands of crores of turnover. You don't have to give 4 crores, 5 crores or 10 crores to them, which they will be able to. This is primarily for MSMEs and that sort of industries. How do you make sure that this industry comes forward and participate? What are the impediments are the most important things actually this seminar or people taking the inputs from this seminar should discuss and come out. And we are also thinking to expand this in a big way, wherein more and more startups and just students who have just passed out their graduation and come out can have a funding from organizations, and they will be able to carry out research without creating their own infrastructure, utilizing the incubation centers and things like that which are there in the academia, or otherwise they have started a small startup, how we can encourage them. There will be some schemes which will be coming out with a much lesser value funding, because you don't need this high level of funding, and try to encourage youngsters, youth who are coming out of the colleges or the people who have entered into startups, how you can fund them and encourage them to come out with larger ideas and the systems and technologies which we'll be able to do. There's, I think, one more scheme which we are working out, how we'll be able to come out and then promote the people. So these are actually some of the problems. I'm not giving any concluding remarks. I'm also trying to put thoughts and put what are the various impediments which are there today, how you people can come out with solutions or come out with various suggestions which we can take care of and try to implement, so that more and more large number of industries can utilize and come out with many more solutions is the important point. So I appeal to the industry to look into these matters. We are open. We are ready to accept suggestions, ready to facilitate with many more modifications and in the procedures and things like that, and see that all of you are able to participate, utilize this and come out with many more technological solutions. I think the Defense Secretary made in the point very clear when Honorable Prime Minister said that Atmanirbhar Bharat. Let me make it very clear. Atmanirbhar Bharat, when we say, you are having the design capability, development capability and the production capability in the country. That is what is Atmanirbhar Bharat. So that means you have the complete know-how and know-why with you. That is what. So all other things are actually TOT and manufacturing TOTs or other things are licensed productioning. That is just you are manufacturing here. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, the complete knowledge base in the country has to be continuously expanding and growing. So for that you need to continuously see that academic institutes, somebody asked from academic institutes or organizations, they have to come out with the fundamental and basic research related things. Organizations like us should be taking that forward to come out with prototypes, and industry should be able to carry out research in niche areas and innovation should be coming out. This is the system what we are looking for. So that's why I said research by or R&D by everyone, all. So this should be message should be going more and more to the industries, and more new people, youngsters and people who have ideas should be able to come in and try to utilize. And many schemes, right in the beginning, DGPCSI has said that what are all the various positions which are there in DRDO to promote, to support these people, and please come out what more are required, and that can be taken up, and we are there to come out with schemes. We will be implementing them, and we are there to support, and we all have to collectively make this country prosperous. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now request DGPC NSI Shri Jane Rao to deliver a DRDO memento to Secretary DRDO and Chairman here. Okay. Now I request Now I request Dr. Mayank Dwivedi, Director DITM, to please come forward and deliver a vote of thanks.
Secretary Defense R&D and Chairman DRDO, DRDO DGs, industry partners, DRDO directors, service officers, media friends, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon. The deliberations in this seminar have generated many ideas to further energize self-reliance in defense sector for Atmanirbhar Bharat. First of all, I am grateful to Dr. Ajay Kumar, Defense Secretary, for his gracious presence and outlining the important steps to mitigate challenges in R&D by industry. I thank Shri Baba Kalyani, CMD, Messrs. Bharat Forge for providing us a perspective on big private industries and necessary steps required for growth in defense sector. My sincere thanks to Shri M.V. Gautama, CMD BEL, for outlining the importance of R&D in industry and industrial ecosystem towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. My gratitudes to Dr. Arvind Patel, CMD Messrs. Sahjanand, Laser Technologies Limited, Gandhinagar, for accepting our invitation and providing MSME's perspective in developing high-end technologies. I sincerely thank Shri Sachin Agrawal, CMD PTC Industries, Lucknow, for providing us an overview on expectation of MSME sector in precision manufacturing and what new measures and initiatives are required. My heartfelt thanks to Shri Karan Garg from Mesa Rafe Amphibian Private Limited, Greater Noida, for bringing out challenges and expectations of startups, and we have a great expectation in technology innovations from startups. My sincere gratitude to Mr. Emmanuel D. Rockfield, VP and Country Director, Messrs. Thales, for accepting our invitation and providing a much-needed insight on collaborations and business with foreign OEMs. I also thank Dr. G. Satish Reddy, Secretary Defense R&D and Chairman DRDO, for being an inspiration to conduct this seminar and concluding it with tangible outcomes. I thank Shri G.N. Rao, Director General PCNSI, to set the tone of the seminar and providing a glimpse of DRDO industry, cooperation, and various policies and the procedure of what DRDO has for the industries. Finally, I thank all the industrialists, officers, media friends, entire DRDO fraternity, organizers, and everyone who has directly and indirectly supported this event. And my special thanks to Dr. Vivek Raghav, Scientist C, DIITM, for conducting this program so well. Thank you to all. Jai Hind.